And welcome back to the New York Giants franchise rebuild. Here today, well, we have another offseason. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, if you watched last episode, you saw the biggest choke fest of my YouTube career so far, I guess. Losing 55-49 in overtime as the Ravens just came back, scored 18 points, and it was very disappointing on my end. Very unfortunate, but now we have another off season. It's time to reload. It's time to get better. It's time to overall improve this team. And I said at the end of last video, this is, I love this past team, and I don't know how else we could theoretically improve it, but we will. I do want to take a quick second and talk about this with the state of the series and the timetable. I don't really know when these episodes will be posted, but regardless, I know for sure we're gonna play year 5, and I guess my thought process is we're gonna play through year 5 very quickly. Like, we know we're a good team. This offseason, I'm looking to reload and get some new talent on this roster. And, we have a few pretty big significant decisions, but not as many as I think some might think. We're gonna improve this team this offseason. And so year 5 for me, I expect us to be good. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move pretty quickly. Like, the first episode of year 5 will probably be a 4-game episode, and I expect us to be at worst 2-2. So that's for, future episodes. Let's focus on the right now. And, John Sherman. A year ago, I had a lot of questions about this guy. And then after this season, he answered the call. In the regular season, 35 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Nothing bad you can sit here and say about that. You then turn to the postseason. In every single game, he threw over 270 yards. He threw multiple scores. The issue is that in the only time this season he threw 3 interceptions, came at the worst time, and that was in the Super Bowl. The Vikings was one of his only multi-interception games, and we lost to the Panthers in this one, and we beat the Eagles in the other one. So I think Sherman has proven himself to be our guy. There's no ifs, buts, or ands about it. So what do we do to surround him with more talent? Right now I think the running back room probably needs a little bit of help. Maybe this receiving room, I think we're kind of okay. Theo Johnson we're going to talk about. I do think getting another young offensive lineman is kind of smart, in my opinion. And then when you flip it over here to the defense, we have a decision here to make on Dexter Lawrence. Brian Burns is not going to get any younger, so does a young pass rusher kind of come into mind? I don't know. Do you think about the secondary, adding in another corner? What do you do, really? Parks and Evans and Newbin and Davis, these guys all play different positions, and they're all key. How do we continue to add to this defense that did kind of choke for us? So there's a lot of things to do. So we're going to sim now to the next week, and then I'm going to go through player by player, because I think this is when regression kind of hits. And shit, I didn't even look at the retirements. I don't know if I can get back to that screen. So, you know what? Regardless, who cares? Let's look at the team. Let's go position by position, talk about them. For starters, John Sherman. I already talked about him enough. He's our guy moving forward. We have a 5th-year option that we'll most likely pick up. But the backup quarterback, Tyler Huntley, he didn't really impress me in the preseason. I signed him to a solid 1-year deal, and I kind of wish I went in a different direction. So Huntley will not be returning. We have Zach Harris. I think regardless, I want a veteran. For this running back room, Taylor Wilkerson, the first round pick of a year ago. He dislocated his hip, missed the Super Bowl, but he's probably going to be one of our starting backs. Now, what about for Montgomery and Tyrone Tracy? Let's start here with Tracy. Tracy is going to go into year 5, 28 years old. I really like Tyrone. I think he still has very good hands and everything. I know he lost a bit of speed and awareness, some injury as well. I do think it's kind of important to try to keep Tracy on the team. I am highly considering it. For David Montgomery, he's now regressed all the way from, an 84 overall when we signed him to now a 72 normal dev. I don't know just yet what I want to do with Montgomery. I still think he can have an impact with these ratings, maybe as a short yardage back, but that's really about it. It might be an end of an era, because these last 2 seasons for him have been excellent. It's been what we really needed. So if we don't decide to bring back Tracy and Montgomery, running back is definitely in the back of my head. Trey Ells, we're not going to look to do anything. For our receiving room, I will try to keep Titus Allen. The game cut him, and I really like the guy. I think he's a good receiver, and I wanted to make him work. But in this receiving room, I do think adding another young kid that, can compete with Zeke, Dwayne, Tony Royal, Titus Allen, if we can keep him. I do think that's important as, we're into the last year with our top 3 guys. So I don't really know between London and Wandale who would I keep? I don't know. They will both be 28 years old, different skill sets. Malik Neighbors, we know we must keep. He answered the call from a year ago that we needed him. Now, yes, he had a critical drop in the Super Bowl, which I think if he makes that catch, it would have been totally different. But regardless, Malik Neighbors has been everything that we wanted from a number 1 receiver. When you go to the tight end room, Theo Johnson here, an 82 superstar, had a breakout year 2 years ago, and then back to the injuries. The injuries have been his biggest kryptonite in these 2 seasons, but what do we do with him? I don't know just yet. In terms of this offensive line, we have Andrew Thomas, we have Darnell Randall, we have Elton Jenkins, John Michael Schmidt with Casey James, and Evan Neal. Taylor Moton, I don't know just yet if we're going to keep him or not. We'll probably let him test. And as of right now, the offensive line would be Randall playing right tackle, Neal will stay at guard, and, the offensive line would be basically that. So I think depth is important here. No really needing to go out there and try to make a big splash signing, in my opinion, across this line. My opinion, at least. Defensively, we have Kayvon Thibodeau under contract. He's a very important defender for us. He's one of our better playmakers, and hopefully he can continue to impress and be the same. For Brian Burns, he's entering the last year of his deal, 30 years old now. Still producing at a pretty solid to high level for us. So, getting another edge rusher is important, though. Leonard Williams and Jonathan Cooper are both set to hit free agency. I don't know just yet if I want to keep Cooper. His ratings are still intact. I mean, he just lost his depth trade, and that's it. And for 2 seasons on the team, he's posted up a good 13.5 sacks, 21 TFLs. I think Cooper could be a candidate to be returning. For Leonard Williams, now regressing, he's not the same player. He could come back, but again, I don't know just yet what we're going to do, but I think defensive line depth is important. Dexter Lawrence, I would love to keep him. He lost his X factor. I think he's important to keep. And then you look at the 2 young guys in terms of Leonard Sapp and Bobby Brown. Happy with these 2 guys. Hopefully they can get some more playing time in this up-and-coming season. Peter Valentine, who we traded for, he went down from superstar to star, but he is still an excellent, or is a very interesting player. He reminds me a lot of Zaven Collins, and I like that type of skill set. I want to continue to develop him. Hopefully we can do so. You have Michael McFadden, the captain of our defense, one of the better players. Isaiah Simmons also entered the last year of his deal. But yeah, corner-wise, the fourth corner is definitely something we'll focus on. As both, don't forget this, and this is something that's very underrated for us. Our secondary is locked in for the next couple seasons, but Drew Phillips signed a very reasonable contract. Same thing here with Christian Bamford. We still have Evans on a rookie deal. Parks is still on a rookie deal. And even Tyler Nubin's deal is very easy to manage. So I don't know how much more we can really improve this secondary, but a fourth corner would help. And then we also have to consider punter in this free agency. So let's go make some decisions here. We have 19 players, $75 million. Dexter Lawrence now wants a 2 years, $76 million. Wow, that would literally obliterate our salary. John Sherman's 5th-year options, a 1 year, 63. Theo Johnson's contract just went up to a 3 year, 35. Derek Park needs a 5th-year option. Montgomery. Okay, let's make some of these easier decisions. Let's start in the back half here. I think we're going to let Ryan Stonehouse test. We'll attempt to probably bring him back. Same thing here with Will. He was good depth for us. Corey, we'll let test. Leonard Williams, that's still a hefty price. I'm going to let Milton Williams test as well. You know, Williams is a starter, but 34 years old. He's not going to really get any better. He's slowly getting worse. And yeah, he actually didn't regress at all. But I think Moton is expendable on our offensive line. I think, at least. The tag, for anyone wanting to know, is at $24 million. That is in play, I guess, if I really wanted to keep him. Roy here, we're going to let him test. Undrafted linebacker Devin Bush will let him test. Tyler Huntley will let test. 2 years, $7 million. We will give Tracy this contract offer. He does accept. Keeping Tyrone Tracy around, and I think it's important to keep him. I think Tracy is a very good back for us. Antonio Gibson will let test. Titus Allen. I was trying to give him this 3-year deal. Let's see if he accepts that. He does not, so I'm not going to tag him for 40. Cordell Flop and Clark Phillips will let both of them test. Same thing here with Jonathan Cooper. I don't want to make such a big... I don't think $7 million is really worth it for him as of right now. Maybe we'll try to negotiate it with him later. With Montgomery, I mean, if he would take a little bit less, I would like him. He does not. So the tag for a running back is $17 million. And now we have 4 decisions to make. Derek Parks, yes, we will pick up this 5th-year option. And we're also going to pick up the 5th-year option here for John Sherman. Basically, I just don't want to have to, just kick this can down the road. He will improve. He already wants to be here. So I think that this was a smart move. Now, this is where things kind of get challenging. I don't want to give Dexter this type of money. I just don't know how much the franchise tag is worth. I mean, would you take this? You won't. So the question really kind of becomes now, tag Dexter for $28 million, or do you tag Theo Johnson? Theoretically, we could still attempt to re-sign Theo. We would have the money. You also minus 28 off of it. That leaves us with like $31 million entering into free agency. Or do we let Theo test and see if an open free agency we can re-get him? Because I don't think even offering him this would work. I'm going to do this. I'm going to tag Dexter Lawrence, leaving us with $42 million. And we're going to let Theo Johnson test. Meaning that tight end running back and tackle are probably, and defensive line is probably our top big needs as we enter into free agency. Well, the retirement page re-showed, as it looks like, I guess, Tyler Lockett retires. We see a couple big names. Devontae Adams retires. Jared Goff. Hunter Henry, who was on our team. Tyreek Hill retires. DeForest Buckner, Nick Chubb, and Mike Evans on our team, as well as, I believe, Alvin Kamara. So, retirements occurred, and now we're kind of left looking like this. Before we go into free agency, I just like showing you guys this screen. So as of right now, I mean, you probably put Randall at tackle here, you put Neal at guard, and then, you know, figure from there. It's a solid offensive line. I don't know if we have to go out there and spend massive amount of dollars on this line. For running back, we have Taylor Wilkerson and Tyrone Tracy. So, you know, maybe adding another back in free agency makes some sense. Maybe drafting someone does as well. Al Gordon, I do really like. I know Theo Johnson made a couple massive receptions in the Super Bowl, and I don't know if really Al Gordon can make those type of plays. But in a 4-game sample size a year ago, posting up 20 catches, 22 yards, and 3 scores, it was impressive for him. And, you know, he had 2 massive games of over 70 yards, 3 games in a row with scores. I'm kind of comfortable with Al Gordon as our starting tight end, if that's necessary. And then defensively, I mean, I said defensive line depth. And yeah, I still think we need it. But I think it's mostly just trying to get some depth, some quality players, and that's about it here in free agency. As we, for whatever reason, they say that we're targeting players, we're not. So we only have 3 targets, but Creed Humphrey is out here at center. Nico Collins, Cooper B, a lot of offensive linemen. This is, wow. TJ Watt's out here. Trayvon Diggs. There is a lot of talent out here. I mean, you know, you look at quarterback, you could probably get a starter here with Michael Penix. Couple solid backs here. You have, you know, a top wide receiver and a couple threes. You have a number 1 tight end out there. 4 to more starting tackles. This is a great free agency. Kind of a bit of a breath of fresh air. And we have $42 million. And I see a couple names that I'm thinking about targeting right now. So let's go try to make some moves. Xavier McKinney's out there at safety. Reunite him with his old team? Maybe. Well, due to the fact that I can only make 3 targets, because Madden sucks, I have my 3 guys. Gonna try to offer a 1 year to Theo Johnson, just trying to bring him back. Bring back the receiving room. For our 4th quarter, Brian Stevens, who got an interception on us in the Super Bowl, just trying to bring him in here from our, I guess now, rivals. And then Rashad Gary, be a second pass rusher on this defensive line. Could be a solid starter if necessary. Let's evaluate here. Gary does not make a choice. Brian Stevens signs with us. As we can see, Nico Collins going to the Patriots. Theo Johnson has signed with the Houston Texans. He gets the contract that he wants. And, you know, he gets to play with CJ Stroud, and now we don't have him. Definitely, you know, will miss Theo Johnson, but now our plans kind of shift to what do we do now at tight end. Well, I'm going to target Darnell Washington to maybe replace, to be at least a potential starter. Going to go after also Ryan Stonehouse here. Looks like none of these guys have made any choices. Let's sim to the next week. See if anyone makes any decisions. And I might make a couple more offer a couple more contracts. I'm only going to make one other here in Stage 2. I'm only going to make one other contract, and that's to Jonathan Allen. wanting just to add this defensive line depth. And we get Stonehouse, we get Allen as well. So our defensive line, it's a bit better. Rashad Gary is still holding out, and now Gary signs with us. So we get some defensive line depth. We get a solid spot starter, our starting punter, our fourth corner here in free agency. Let's move on to the draft. And this is the free agency recap here. Creed Humphrey going to the Broncos, Nico Collins going to the Patriots, and a couple other moves are out there. You know, a lot of changes occurring around this league. Taylor Moton is still out there as a free agent, so maybe there's a chance to reunite with him. I doubt it though. But there's a lot of change occurring in free agency and around the league, as we're now going to be turning our attention here to the NFL draft. Keep in mind, guys, before we look at our roster, keep in mind, guys, we have the 32nd pick, the 95 pick, a 4, 5, 6. We don't have a second. We don't have a seventh. So in this draft class, obviously, where am I, attention's kind of turning to? When you look at the current state of the roster, we have our starting quarterback. We really have yet to address the running back position. I think we'll do that later, though. We could look to draft a tight end. I do think with our first round pick, I might take an offensive player. I think either maybe drafting a wide receiver, drafting an offensive lineman, a tight end, they should all be kind of in play for us. So we kind of need that because Elton Jenkins could leave at the end of this year. Same thing with Evan Neal. We just have a lot of major decisions to be made offensively, in my opinion. Defensively, we kind of have our two future defensive tackles. We have a top edge rusher. We have another young edge rusher we're developing. I don't think that we need to draft another defensive lineman, at least with our first two picks. We have two in the top 100. In terms of this secondary, you throw Evans down here, I think we have a very good group of corners. You look at linebackers, I think we're pretty solid. I think, sure, we could add a depth guy, but I could see myself using my third round pick. But I've been set on first round to draft an offensive player. We'll just see who it is, as this draft class does have a lot of good quarterbacks. This class, as we pick very late, this class has a lot of good quarterbacks in this year's class. 4 out of the top 5. Add 2 more in the second. One's supposed to go in rounds 2 and 3. I looked at quarterbacks because I thought that, John Sherman might not be the guy. And we were given Jamie Brittley here, who I really like. Don't get me wrong, I think he's going to be he's definitely a top 5 prospect. I think he's just an excellent player. Obviously, I am not going to be making this trade up to go get him, but he is the big ticket player. Wide receiver wise, Tremaine Gardner, someone that I do like, is in play, definitely. Tight end, I looked at Alex Romeo. He's a 2-2-3 talent. Maybe we look at Dakota Bowser's as a guy. I talked about the offensive line. My favorite lineman comes out to be a top 5 talent in Quincy Brees. I do like him a lot. DeMarcus Choice here is also a good talent, but a top 5 player here, Quinton Brissy. I like him a lot. He might be my guy here at 27. Few other offensive linemen that are solid. Didn't get too much information on this defensive line and this defense in general. And the one guy that I did fully scout is a 3 to a 4 round guy. So I don't know about a trade up. I don't think we can really afford it. So let's see what happens around the league. The Detroit Lions, they go with Long, Courtney Long, the top pass rusher in this class, as the Washington Commanders just drafted Jimmy Brittley, and I was just talking about him. He's an excellent prospect. Are they just restarting at quarterback? And we see John McLean here. He's another quarterback that I did not really talk too much about, but he was another top kid. 2 quarterbacks go in the top 5, 2 edge rushers as well as and a tackle. This is a deep quarterback room. So as the Cardinals just go safety, another pass rusher goes here to the Browns. So as of right now, it's kind of a trend to go defense here, which is fine with me. As Wayne Roby goes to the Chargers, he's a top back in this class. I really liked him as well. Never thought that he would fall to us, though. Eddie Hall here goes to the Packers, defensive tackle. As another tackle goes, corner goes to Seattle. As the Dolphins here will take, I think, the first wide receiver. As it's been offensive lineman, defensive lineman. You know, it's been the meat and gravy, I guess, draft. First corner, I think, goes as well. Another tackle. Now the Eagles are on the clock. They'll go with an offensive lineman. What's happening with Jordan Mailata? Quarterback goes here to San Francisco. They needed one. As another edge rusher goes, we still see the offensive lineman that I like still there. As the Panthers just took the defensive tackle, 2 defensive tackles go. We're almost to our selection. I don't know if that offensive lineman will make it to us. I don't really have enough to trade up. I don't think, at least. And if I even just look at the state of our roster, you know, I don't really have a running back that I could trade, a wide receiver. I mean, I guess I could look to trade like a Tony Royal, but I don't think that that's really too realistic. No one on our offensive line that I'm looking to move off of. You know, not thinking about moving off of Brian Burns or Dexter Lawrence here. So I think we're going to kind of accept our fate here of drafting pretty much anyone who falls to us. We have a few picks until our selection. KC's on the clock. They go with Alex, a kid that I like, a receiver. And then goes Quinton. He goes to the Minnesota Vikings. And, you know, he was a top 5 offensive lineman. And there goes Dakota Bowsers. So 2 guys potentially that I could have taken. Same thing with Alex Burke. So we're kind of now left here, you know, when you look at the rest, you know, the guys. So not thinking about taking a quarterback. Tremaine Gardner is available. He's a 1-2 guy, 21 years old, good enough speed with 4.4 speed. You know, he can do a little bit of everything, and he's 6'5", young developmental receiver for a year. Maybe pair him up down the line. You know, in terms of running back, we could take one of these backs right now. Do we go back-to-back years drafting running backs? Probably not. Jason Hoskins here could be a solid tight end. Do we just force the issue and draft a tight end here? In terms of the offensive line, which is something that I was highly considering, DeMarcus Choice, or round 1 to 2 guy. Could look to trade him just to get a future lineman on the team. And I don't know just yet what I want to do with this selection. We saw a year ago Drake London go down, and our 4th receivers was not it. I do think it's important for us to continue to try to draft young offensive players, and I just can't pass up on a guy like a Tremaine Gardner. 21 years old, 6'5". I think his ratings are good enough to start with, and worst case scenario, he's our 3rd receiver next year or 2 years from now. I think down the line, he could become our solid number 2. He was ranked 41. We got him at 31. Hidden development, 92 speed. That is very good. 84 change of direction. I do very much like this pick. You know, I did not like the idea of drafting a tight end at this spot. But hey, I mean, he's also 6'5", 230. Could he handle playing tight end? Maybe. We do need to add a linebacker in this class, and I've sent all the way to the 3rd round. Felix Brooks seems like a decent fit for us. He's got enough speed. I think he will be a good run supporter. And, you know, we need depth at this spot. Got him right around where he's supposed to go. Normal dev, 85 speed. That's good enough for me. But with our top 2 100 picks, we draft a wide receiver and a linebacker. Here in the 4th round, we're addressing the tight end. We're taking the 6'9" Antonio Webster. Just like in the Cardinals franchise, there's a 6'9" guy. I'm intrigued. He's an athletic freak. Webster is the selection. And he has hit a development, though. This skill set looks good. I think he's going to be a low overall. But I think we have our 3 tight ends to try to replace Theo Johnson now. Here in the 5th round, we're going to take A.J. Jones, a solid young corner. And we do get a cut screen with him. He's supposed to go 99th. We got him at a 156. So maybe a steal with hidden developments. A nice young corner to start developing in our room. And here in the 6th round, we're going to take Aaron Bennett, a quarterback, a 23-year-old scrambler. Okay, not so bad. 96 throw power, 91 speed. The speed intrigued me. Maybe a nice development backup, pushing Harris a bit. And that's the draft, ladies and gentlemen. What did you guys think of it? I mean, we got ourselves a couple future guys, I want to say. You know, we had 5 selections, and I think we made the most out of them. I mean, you start off here with a 73 overall wide receiver in Tremaine Gardner. He can run it short. You can work on the deep stuff. He can do a little bit of everything to start off with, and you can develop him in any way that you want. He can be your big slot receiver. He could become your deep threat with that release and speed. He could become a playmaker. I like this selection a lot. And then you send it to this 3rd round. We take Felix Brooks here. You know, 86 hit power to start off with, plus the 3. You know, we'll work on the zone coverage, but you'll be a solid depth piece for this linebacking room. As don't forget, you know, we don't really know the future yet of Isaiah Simmons either. Antonio Webster here. Low overall, but hidden development. Throw on top of the fact you have 86 speed, 89 acceleration. He has good spec catch to start off with. You know, he can move. We have an intriguing prospect, plus he's 6'9". What else do you have to sit here and say about that? Then A.J. Jones here, maybe the steal of the class. A 69 overall corner, 74 zone, 77 press, 77 hit power as well. Maybe he could play safety with these ratings. And then you finish it off with a 65 overall quarterback in Aaron Bennett with okay accuracies. He's very mobile. So what do you think of the draft, guys? You know, and the offseason in total, I mean, we were trying to reload, and I think we were able to successfully do so. We got ourselves some key players, and yeah. When you look at this draft, I mean, now we're going to play against an 82 overall Jimmy Brable. I mean, this kid, he can do everything. 99 speed, holy cow. Generational quarterback goes to the Commanders, and the Commanders, what are they doing with Jaden Daniels? I don't know. As the Lions also improved, getting themselves a big-time pass rusher. The Chargers improved with a big-time running back. And we see that Quincy Parisi was a top 5 prospect, 79 overall, and the Vikings snagged him. And I would have loved to draft him. This skill set day 1 is exactly, I think, something that we could have used very quickly. I don't remember if there was any other. Dakota Bowser's was a 75. 76 for Alex Burke. Those were a couple players that were candidates that I was considering. And all these guys, they weren't on my mind. When you turn to the second round, I'll just try to point out some of these guys for you guys. Whoever I recognize. Man, I don't really recognize any of these guys. Third round, maybe they were more in the later on rounds. Let's see. Freddie Edwards here. I like this back a lot, 76 overall. You know, yeah, there was a few good players. Let's see the fourth round. Who's the highest overall? I see a 74. Big time corner here. Quarterback goes. The big time fullback, my goodness. There was a quarterback that I liked that I think went here in the sixth round. Yeah, Harris. There's a 68 goes to Jacksonville. Normal dev, Tyrone Harris. I thought he could have been a good future backup quarterback for us. Jags snagged him. But what do you think of the draft? What do you think of the offseason? Let me know down below. Let's send here to the next week and let's talk a bit. Well, as we're gearing up for year number 5, this is the current state of the team. Obviously not all the starters. Neal would play tackle or guard. Randall would play on the other side. Yeah, so overall wise, this is the roster. I mean, we kept our 3 starting receivers. I still am looking to sign a veteran back. We'll do that shortly. A couple young quarterbacks that we're developing. A nice young receiver as well that we got. A couple hidden dev guys. Not a lot of changes. I mean, we really did not need to make too many adjustments. And I think it was the smart route to go. Personally, I think. The main really difference is tight end and tackle. Now let's see an open free agency right now. If Taylor Moton did make it to this stage of free agency. I see Rodney Stanley out there, but I don't think Moton did. He did not know. But I do see Randy Stanley, a couple other guys. So, guys, this is what I am going to do. The preseason video will kind of just be more of a recap of some moves that I made, and that's about it. I'm not going to sit down and record all 3 preseason games and make a video for you guys. I think we're kind of past that. We don't have a lot of competition regardless. I mean, other than really tight end, I don't think so. So it will be probably a 10-minute video of just me talking about the team entering into year 5, and then we'll kind of get on our way. And I might not even do that for you guys and talk about that at the beginning of the first episode. But before we end today, I do just want to go through quickly with you guys the schedule. I've yet to see it. So just like a year ago, we start off with a gauntlet of divisional rivals. We played Dallas so quickly, and then we played the Bears, a team that we played against in the postseason. You know, the Texans, who just signed Theo Johnson, the Vikings, who we played at the championship game, the Lions, who are very good, the Saints, who we played in the playoffs, the Ravens, who we faced in the Super Bowl, the Packers, who've been a good team. This is a tough schedule to start off with. I do have high expectations for our team. So yeah, first episode, bank it in as, you know, 3 or 2 Dallas games, a Commanders and a Bears. So we'll see. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Year 5 will go pretty quick, I hope. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's action. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will be changing the numbers. I will be signing players. And yeah, we'll get to week 1 next time. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Subscribe, like, comment, all those things. I'll see you in the next one.